A common and recurring theme from churches and pastors that I've worked with and that I've been a part of seems to be this: how do we prioritize and decide what announcements to give and what announcements to leave out? Should we leave it all in the bulletin, put it all on a website, put it all up on the video screen? Someone's going to feel left out if we don't announce this and that. And then the announcements end up being 20, 25 minutes, and you're just like, what? No one's engaged anyway. You're just doing it to appease everyone in the crowd. It can get complicated trying to decide how to prioritize your announcements. Well, in the first video I made in this series, I really tried to push the need to come up with a rationale, a reason, a purpose for why you're doing announcements. And mine are to bring family feel, family events that draw people into more family events, to create an environment of warmth that is included in that. And sometimes you can use the announcement time to create a sense of family, which is what I try and do every week. Now, if you're going to prioritize though, and those are my goals, for me, it becomes easy for me to say, well, community events, for the most part, are going to fall lower on the list. I can say there are a number of community events, have a community events section in the bulletin or on the website that people can go to engage with that. Now, occasionally there might be an anomaly where you want to announce one because there's so many people in your church involved in a particular event. It makes sense for you to say, to be a bigger part of this family, we are doing this family event for the community. That would make sense and fit in. But if it's just an event that you know of locally, then it doesn't really make sense to add it to your list of things to announce. Put it in the bulletin or on the website or in a update email or an announcement slide / video PowerPoint thing that you might put together. What else though? Do you list everyone's funeral and everyone's marriage and everyone's new baby? Depending on the size of your church, you might do none. Just have a section on the website or the bulletin if it's a huge church. If it's a smaller one, it's probably a good idea to do any of those things because they bring the family together. You want to make sure you acknowledge those as much as possible. And have a system they'll set up so that if it gets swept under the rug or missed or forgotten, that you can say, well, here's how you can help us remember, so that the onus is put onto others and you can say, we've set up this system so we won't forget, so please help us to not forget. So that is very valuable and helpful. But again, back to the prioritizing stuff. How many videos do you show? Is it only the events coming this week? Well, as much as that sounds nice, that usually doesn't work because most events need a number of weeks' notice for people to actually put it into a calendar. So you've got to determine in your staff team or at your church or whoever's doing announcements and determining which ones to give, what is it that's the priority? What's the most important? Determining factors that can help you discern whether or not this is at the top of your list or this goes in a different section. So that's how I would suggest starting. I can't answer all the questions because I don't really know what the announcements are that you're wrestling through whether or not to give. But if you have a rationale, a basis of understanding for why you do announcements in the first place, you can prioritize those related to the purpose of why. So start there, and I'd love to hear back on how that goes for you. And even some struggles and hurdles. I'd like to hear more questions about how do I determine between this and this. I was caught between a rock and a hard place. Whatever. I would love to hear questions and thoughts like that. Thanks.